More than 1,000 workers staged a rally near Government House yesterday to remind the Yingluck Shinawat's cabinet of his election promise to increase the daily minimum wage to 300 baht nationwide. Protest leader Charlie Loy-Soom said the government should scrap the cabinet's decision to apply the 300 baht wage only to 7 provinces initially, as it should be equal throughout the country. He said the workers would hold another protest on April the 1st if the 300 baht daily wage does not go into effect nationwide by then. Charlie, who's head of the influential Thai Labor Solidarity Committee, or TLSC, which led yesterday's protests, said it would be unfair if laborers did not get their wages raised, especially after government officials and state enterprise employees had theirs boosted recently. He also called on employers and business owners to offer special incentives and a higher wage to workers who have been with them a long time. He dismissed the tripartite wage committee's ruling that the 300 baht would be implemented nationwide for the next 3 years, saying that the wages should be increased according to changing economic conditions and inflation. Charlie said the workers did not want Labor Minister Padumchai Satsomsap to lose his job because his stance with the laborers were not acceptable. Padumchai had said earlier that the protesting workers were the very same people who were planning to pressure the government. Deputy Government Spokesman Anusan Iem Saad yesterday said that the protest was not worrying. He added that similar rallies would soon be held by people demanding higher wages, including one by those wishing to earn 15,000 baht at entry level, another election promise made by the now ruling Pheu Thai party.
And now on the line with us we have Kun Jane Namsiri, the Vice Chairman of FTI. สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีค่ะคุณเจน
Good afternoon, Kun Jane. As the government has decided to go ahead with the to implement the minimum wage of 300 baht per day, which will be fully implemented on April the 1st, do you think that Thai industry can cope with this sudden rise in their costs?
Well, there are the number of entrepreneurs or a number of entities, business operators who can obviously cope with this. This includes the larger corporation who had actually already surpassed that minimum wage, and they were not paying minimum wage at this time. They probably pay higher wages at this time already. And I'm quite sure that there are also a number of SMEs who had adapted, and also, well, I would like to call them super SME, because these are the SMEs who can cope with higher wages because of their business models, or the products that they produce had a better margin than average. But I'm quite sure that there are quite a number of SMEs who will be affected. A number of larger corporations also would be affected by this. We would like to say it's a sudden increase, because it's quite significant from the trend that we had during the past few years. So a number of operators, business operators, will obviously be affected. And we had voiced this concern to the government already, but I think this is a flagship policy of the government, so they're not backing down on this. And I'm quite sure that the labor circle would also like to see this. The reason that we voiced this concern is not for our own interest. It's for the larger picture of the whole country, because I think with those affected, there would be a reduction of employment, and this together with the effect from the flood last year, I think we are seeing some business operators who throw in the towel, so to say, throw in the towel, and they call it quits. and this could result in a number of jobs being lost in the industry. Yeah.
Kunten, is it time for Thai industries to climb up the value-added chain by producing, higher quality of products so they can afford higher wages for their workers?
Yes, I'm quite confident that this is actually the time. It's a little bit too late already because a number of countries had already has already been chasing us for quite some time, and we need to move up. And already, I believe that some companies, some entrepreneurs had already moved up, and but I think there has to be a balance because a number of operators can obviously move up, but a number of them needs the factors, the labor factors, to still be in their business model. So a number of them obviously can cope with this, but we have to realize that not all students in the class are going to get the straight A grades because there has to be a number of them who are struggling as well, and I think it's the government's responsibility to take care of those struggling as well, because we cannot get everyone to be a straight A student.
So far about the Thai industries, have they recovered from the floods in the fourth quarter of last year?
The flood factor, now I would say that we have been monitoring the load, the electricity load in those industrial estates, and from what we see, there are a number of them who has recovered. Maybe according to the load factor of the electricity, we see up to about 40 to 50% recovery of the load now compared to the load electricity load prior to the flood. So a number of them has already started working, and a number of them is at 100% operation. But still, there are quite a number of them who are still lacking behind. And I would say that there are a number of factors that caused that was the reason for this. And one is the confidence confidence on the government's measures to prevent the flood this year. The second is probably about the compensation from insurance company for their claims. And the third one is probably the shortage of labor, because at that time when there was a flood, a number of workers had gone back to their hometown, and maybe they haven't come back, and so these are the three major factors that caused the business operators not to fully recover from the flood yet.
Well, do you think that the worst is over, or something similar like that, or are we going to face something more challenging lying ahead?
I'm sorry, you're talking about the trend for this year?
Yes, the floods. Do you think the worst period is over yet, or do you think that we're going to face some similar problems like last year?
About the flood, I think the government has been a little bit more concrete on their measures, because just recently we didn't find any target or any figures relating to the measures that the government had. Only the number of the amount of money that government is going to spend. But now, lately, just a few days ago, the government had announced about the dam releasing the water. The level of the dam, the proper level of the dam that they would maintain, and also they were talking about the flood area, the floodplain that they'd like to keep the water so that the water can be slowed before being released onto the sea. And the third one is the work on dredging and clearing the canals and rivers so that the releasing of the water to the sea can be faster and more efficient than last year. So these three factors, I think, are the most important target or the key performance factor for the government to monitor, and also for the operators for the private sector to monitor the government.
Right. Kun Jain, a final question for you. Will the manufacturing sector continue to experience high growth this year?
I believe that according to what I experienced, I think the high growth can be expected in certain sectors of the industry. For example, the sectors relating to the recovery of from the flood. For example, the furniture, the construction materials, and actually we can also see that the automotive sector is coming back very strong.
Yes.
So also we cannot forget the electricity and the electric appliances as well. So for these sectors, I think we can expect them to have a high growth this year. But for other sectors, it depends on the exports performance.
Right.
Because we're still in the midst of the European crisis, and the recovery of the U.S. economy is still not that full-fledged, and so we have to realize that this year is an election year for the U.S. So the recovery so far we're not sure whether it's sustainable or not. So for the external factor, we're still rather worrisome about this. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.